You can hide no longer. You now have the world looking directly at you. Up roll, red roll. Engaged.
Welcome back to the channel. This is Mr. Fresh. Thank you for tuning in. Let's go ahead and get started with this video. Today's video is going to be about installing Balena Etcher on a Debian based system. I'm going to do a separate video on how to install this on a system that is a Red Hat based system that uses, for example, the RPM package manager. And the system that I'll probably be using for the demonstration with that is going to be Fedora. So check that out in the separate video. But for this video, we are going to be using a Debian based system. This could be Ubuntu, or this could be a slew of other Debian-based Linux distributions, but I'm going to do this demonstration using Kali Linux. And I did a video on this previously, quite a few months back, and it was very well received, but unfortunately the audio cut out at a certain point. So people did post comments about that saying, hey, thanks for the video, but the audio does cut out. So this is kind of an update, or just me basically redoing the video and hopefully doing it a little bit better than the first time I did. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm on my Kali Linux virtual machine, and I'm on the home page for Balena Etcher. That is located at the URL of etcher.balena.io. And there are a couple different ways to do this, but I'm going to show you what, in my opinion, is the easiest, less problematic way of doing this, regardless of which Debian-based system you're on. So immediately you see there's a green button here to download Etcher. If I click on that, it takes me a little bit further down the page, and it gives us options for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. This is a cross-platform utility, so that's why you see the other options here, such as Windows and Mac. Obviously, we're concerned with Linux. Our choice is going to be this one right here, which is Etcher for Linux x64 64-bit, and this is an AppImage. You can see over here on the right we have a download button or a link, and if I click on that, it begins to download. I did do this previously. That's why you're seeing a couple in there, and it only takes a few seconds because it's not a very large package. So now let me minimize the screen, and I'm going to open up a terminal window, increase the size of everything here, and okay, so that should be in my downloads directory. So let me go ahead and cd into my downloads directory. ls, I see there it is. It's version 1.18.11 as of the recording of this video, which is Saturday, March 9th, 2024. So if I do a ls-l on that package, it'll show us the permissions, and you see that we are lacking a permission that we need. We need the execute permission bit so that we can execute this as a program. So in order for us to do that, we are going to run the chmod command plus X to enable the execute bit permission on this binary, we will call it, or AppImage. And if I hit enter, that takes care of that. Now if I ls -l on the AppImage, you see that we now have the execute bit permission enabled, and you see it here represented by the X. Also, you see that the name of the AppImage is now showing up in green, which is a visual way of showing you that this is now executable, as opposed to the way that it looked before. So that literally is it. This is the most simple way of doing this at this point. You can go ahead and run this and do whatever you need to do, flash a USB stick or whatever. And to do that, we would do // followed by the name of the package, Alt tab for completion, hit enter, and it'll pull up the GUI. That's it. So at this point, if that's all you're trying to do, hey, you can stop watching the video now and go get Balena Etcher and go have fun and hopefully flash 6,500 USB sticks or whatever you're trying to do. But in my opinion, I would, if I were you, I'd want to clean this up a little bit. So let's move on to the next step. So let me go ahead and exit out of this. And what I would want to do just to clean this up and make this easier for day-to-day use on my system is, well, first off, I don't want this long name with all this version information after it. So I'm going to change the name and make it something that's just a little shorter and easier. So I'm going to use the move command for that. And I'm going to change the name simply to Balena Etcher. Now if I ls-l on Balena Etcher, you still see it's still listed in green, still has the same permission bits. It's just now we have a shorter, more easily identifiable name. Okay, you can still run it the same way and it'll run just fine. The next step that I would do is I would want to move this, you refer to this as an app image, an executable, or a binary. Really, in my opinion, for this example, the words are interchangeable. So if I'm using different words, that's why. But I would want to move this binary to a different location in my file system so that, one, it's accessible by any user, and two, by any user from any point in the file system without having to cd into the downloads directory and run it from inside of the downloads directory, or without having to give it the full path. And what I mean by that is, if I cd into my home directory, I can't run Balena Etcher anymore without giving it the full path. So I either have to cd back into the downloads directory from wherever I'm at and then run it, or if I'm in the home directory, I have to give it the full or absolute path, which would be something like home, Kali, downloads, Balena Etcher, and then it would run. Well, I want to avoid all of that. I want it to be just like any other binary on my system. So in order to accomplish that, I am going to move, let me cd back into the downloads directory. I am going to move Balena Etcher into user local bin. This could be a different location on your system, but I'm moving it into this location because this is a location in the file system where any user can basically run this. They can run any binary that is located in this directory. So if I hit enter, it's going to ask for my password, and now it's no longer in my downloads directory, and it has been moved to user local bin. So what that does now is I can be anywhere in my file system, and I can run it, and it will find it because that location is in my path. So if I show you my path environment variable, you see that user local bin is in my path. So if I just run, I can actually just type in the first few letters and then just tab, and it knows to autocomplete it now. And now I just hit enter, and you see it pulls up the GUI. So once again, I can be in the temp directory, right? And still it's the same thing. I can run it from anywhere, and any user can also run it. And to me, that's the way that you want to do this. So now the last thing I will show you is, if I go back over to the download page here, we did the app image, and that to me is just the easiest way to do it. I don't really see any reason to do it any other way. But if you see down here, it also says if you're looking for Debian packages, .deb packages. So if I click on that, it takes me over to the GitHub page, and you have another way of installing this. So you can basically, you can use your Debian-based package, package manager, which would be apt, and you can download the .deb package, which is different than the AppImage package that we downloaded. And then you could install it using apt. But to me, the way that I showed you with the AppImage, it's just the easiest way to to do it. And in fact, sometimes you run into complications trying to do it this way. And I'll show you. So obviously we can get around those, but I'm gonna now, I'm gonna show you why it's easier to do the AppImage install, because you're gonna see what happens when I try to do it the other way. If you don't want to be confused, I suggest you just stop watching the video now. But let's go ahead and move forward. So I'm gonna remove the Balena Etcher binary that I installed. So it's no longer on my system, and there's nothing in my downloads directory. So now I'm going to open up my browser again, and I am going to go over to the release page, and I'm going to install the latest .deb package. So over here on the release page, the first thing you see is pre-release. We don't want that. We're looking for the latest stable release. So if you see like how it says version 1.19, you might be like, well, wait a minute. When I come over here to the download page and I downloaded that AppImage, I was getting 1.18. So if I come over here, this is a newer version. Maybe I want this. Well, this is the pre-release, so over here on the home page, this is giving you the latest stable version, which is 1.18.11 as of the recording of this video. These are higher version, but they're pre-release. So if you come down here to the latest, you'll see that it's the same version from the from over here. It's the same version, so it's 1.18.11. Now we have our choices here. So in the first example, the preferred method, we downloaded this one right here, the AppImage. But if we try to do this method, we would be getting the .deb package. So if I download that, it'll take a few seconds. All right, now I'll minimize the screen. Now I'm going to show you why I don't like this method. This is just more problematic. So I'm in my downloads directory, and there is our .deb package. I can actually run sudo dpkg with -I, and it'll give you some information about that. Now it says up here that it depends on certain packages to install it this way. It recommends for us to get this package. So this is what happens when we try to do the installation using the .deb package. Sudo apt install, and I give it the name, hit enter, and immediately we get an error. It says the following packages have unmet dependencies. So now we can fix this, but see, I go back to why not just do it the first way. Avoid all the confusion. Forget doing it with the .deb package, and do it with the AppImage. So one more time, I am going to download that AppImage, and I'm going to show you something else real quick. So I'm just trying to give you multiple options and answer questions ahead of time that one might answer with this. So I'm going to show you another way of doing this with the AppImage. So if you don't want to do it from the command line, you can open up my file manager here, and I'll go to the downloads directory, and here is the AppImage, right? Let me go ahead and get rid of this .deb package. Alright, so here's the AppImage once again. Now I can just click on it, right click on it, and let's see here. Should be able to open maybe properties here, permissions, and right here. So I click on this, allow this file to run as a program, and then click close, and now I should be able to hit execute, and it will see it opens up the GUI. So if you're not comfortable with the command line, you're more comfortable using the file manager and the method that I just showed you, then hey, you can do that too, and you can actually You know, even if you wanted to, you could also just right click on this, you could rename it, and rename it to something like what we did before. Hit enter, and you're essentially accomplishing the same thing, just not from the command line. So hopefully that was not too confusing, because I did just basically show 3 different methods of doing this, and the second one I don't like. You see that it kind of gives you problems. So once again, just to recap, I would go with the first one, which was the AppImage, and doing it from the command line, and then renaming it and moving it to something like user local bin. All right, now I'm going to do another video on doing this in a Red Hat based distribution using Fedora. So if you want to check that one out, please do. If you haven't done so already, really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers, pretty close. And like the videos, man. You know, thank you guys for watching. This is Mr. Fresh, and see you in the next one.